Hey y'all, so I'm going to keep going in chapter 6 and we're going to talk about the specifics of biomes. So remember, when we talk about ecosystems and biomes, two things define them. Biotic factors like plants and animals, and abiotic factors like climate, weather, temperature, and precipitation. So, we're going to talk about each one specifically. You're going to write down the location, the climate, and one interesting fact, and you can pick which one you want to do. The first one is one you're familiar with, the tropical rainforest. So for the tropical rainforest, you can see all the places that it's located. Very similar latitudes. So I'm just going to pick Central America because like Costa Rica, that's common to me. So tropical rainforest, it's warm year-round and it's wet year-round. They get at least 2 meters of rain per year and they can get up to almost 40 feet of rain per year. You're going to find the most diversity of plants and animals here. You're going to have a tall canopy and then short, shallow plant roots. And then here, you're also going to have the highest net primary production. All that means is the most producers. So the most plants and animals out of all the biomes. For each one, I wanted to show you a Disney or just an animated movie. So for tropical rainforest, I picked Up. The next one is the tropical dry forest. Very similar, but a little bit different. So these are very close in proximity to the tropical rainforest. They pretty much surround them. But think about beaches, places you've been. So think about like Florida. Alright, so here, it's warm year-round. You have a dry season and you have a rainy season. Still a lot of rain, but not quite as much. Since it is dry, you're going to find plants that are a little bit different. They're going to be deciduous or they're going to lose their leaves. So they adapt to seasonal changes. The one I picked for this is Madagascar. And you can think about like palm trees. The next one is another familiar one, which is the Savanna. So I like to think about Africa. So in the Savanna, you have a wet and a dry season. So typically it's going to be cooler during the dry season because you don't have water holding in all that moisture. But this is important because you have the rainy season and the soil there is porous. It has holes in it. You're going to find plants that are deciduous and lose their leaves, but they have waxy coatings. That waxy coating is going to make sure water doesn't get out of it. And then you're going to see a lot of animals that migrate to find water. Remember, animals are going to go from place to place in herds for safety. So, here's some animals that live there. So think the Lion King. So the next one is the desert. And the desert, you can think about like Africa or you could think about the United States. Very dry, very arid. Less than 10 inches of rain per year. So you're not going to see many plants. There's not going to be much living things in soil. Most animals are going to be nocturnal or they're awake at night. And you're going to find plants with shallow roots. So organisms here are going to be adapted to live in the desert. So camels have the humps to store water. Cacti and other plants do the same thing. You're going to see animals with long ears to regulate body temperature. So Cars is the movie I picked for that. The next one is the temperate rainforest. So for this, I think about the Pacific Northwest in the United States. So heavy rainfall, think about Seattle, and year-round moderate temperatures. So it's kind of cool, kind of warm, but lots and lots of rainfall. And it's going to create kind of a mist constantly around it. So conifers are here. They're green year-round. And you're going to find a lot of moss and a lot of ferns. Moisture-loving animals as well. So the movie I picked for this is Twilight. And you can really see how all the moss and the ferns cover the forest. And you can see the mist. The next one should look familiar. The temperate forest is our biome. So, of course, eastern United States for the location. And then the climate. We get pretty even precipitation throughout the year, but our temperatures range from super hot to super cold. We really do experience all 4 seasons. And the trees are deciduous, so they lose their leaves, and then you're going to have some animals to hibernate, some animals to migrate. So Bambi is the movie I picked for this one. Alright, next is the temperate grassland. So I think about North America like the Midwest. So here, temperatures can be extreme. Like it might be kind of warm in the daytime, cool at night. They have pretty brutal winters, but you're going to have moderate seasonal precipitation. So here, plants are going to be super short, so it's going to be like shrubs and grasses, and they're going to form thick mats. Those thick mats are going to make sure water stays in. And then you're also going to have a lot of animals to burrow to hide from predators, like prairie dogs. So I picked Spirit and I picked Little House on the Prairie for this one. The next one is the chaparral, and this one's easy to remember because it's California. So here, mild, wet winters, warm, dry summers. So it's pretty much warm all year round. So this one is like a mix between the desert and the tropical dry forest. So these plants and these animals, they have to adapt to withstand those things. So these plants can retain water, and then these animals have long ears to regulate body temperature. Couldn't think of a movie, so I just put the Hollywood sign because that is the chaparral. The next one is the boreal forest or the taiga, probably my favorite. So here, just think north, Canada, Alaska, Russia, Scandinavia. So the climate here is interesting. They have strong seasonal variation in day length. Sometimes you're going to have 24 hours of darkness. Sometimes you're going to have 24 hours of daylight. So sometimes it's going to be super cold. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit warmer. And then you can see in the pictures, it's called the boreal forest because of the aurora borealis, or the northern lights. You're not going to see a huge variety of species here. You're going to find some trees that are green year-round, but unlike the desert and chaparral, these animals have really short extremities. So they have like short ears to retain their body heat, and they have thick insulation. So I think it's called Brother Bear from Disney is the one I picked for that. And then the last biome is the tundra. So the tundra is even further up north than the taiga. And this one is interesting because it's almost as dry as the desert, but it's super, super cold. So extremely cold and dark winters, but the summers are also very cool as well. So what's interesting about here, it's so cold that they have something called permafrost. The ground is permanently partially frozen. So you're going to see like caribou, polar bears, oxen, things like that. Sometimes you might see a tundra like this, and then you might see one over here that does have snow. So I picked frozen for this one. And now the last one. People usually have questions about this one. So what about the Arctic? So the Arctic or polar ice is not actually a biome. So here you don't have a lot of variety of plants or animals. Most of the life that you have lives in the water. So that would actually be called an aquatic ecosystem. So just a quick recap. Biomes are defined by 2 things. Biotic factors, plants and animals, and abiotic factors, climate and temperature and precipitation. So just use those as you fill in these notes, and y'all let me know if you need help.